On behalf of Acacia Pharma, I want to welcome everyone to this evening's program. My name is Antonopoulos, and I am the Marketing Director and Brand Leader for Byfavo, remimazolam. It's been over 20 years since the approval of the last sedative, so I'm very pleased to introduce this educational program this evening to discuss procedural sedation. Byfavo, a new short-acting sedative for procedures 30 minutes or less. I'm very honored to introduce Dr. Randy Ostroff, who's going to present this program this evening. Dr. Ostroff is an ambulatory anesthesiologist and pharmaceutical consultant based in Chicago, Illinois. He has over 40 years of clinical practice experience and 20 years experience working with the pharmaceutical industry. He has held previous positions, including the Vice President of Medical Affairs at US Medical Affairs of Pion Inc., and the Director of Anesthesia at the Surgery Center in Chicago. Specifically with Byfavo, Dr. Ostroff was involved for 10 years with the development of this molecule and was the US medical lead for Byfavo's pivotal trials and part of the team that negotiated approval with the agency. Before I turn it over to Dr. Ostroff, I want to let everyone know a couple ways questions can be submitted for the Q&A session after the presentation. There's a Q&A box which you may enter a question, or after the presentation, you may raise a hand and one of the panelists will unmute your microphone so that you can ask the question. Given webinar format, everyone has been placed in mute mode, listen only mode for the moment. Dr. Ostroff, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Tony. And thank you all on behalf of Acacia Pharma and myself for attending tonight's program. I hope you'll find it interesting and informative. As Tony said, I'm an anesthesiologist practicing in Chicago with approximately 40 years of experience and about 20 years of pharmaceutical experience. And yeah, when you said 10 years, it surprised me at first, but it has been 10 years since I was first introduced to remimazolam, which was held by a small German company. Ultimately, I got involved with the development and was the medical lead in the US for the three phase 3 pivotal trials. And as a result, the FDA, we negotiated with FDA last February, right at the start of COVID, right before COVID. And in July, we got approval for what the trade name now, Byfavo, generic name remimazolam, for procedural sedation. So we'll start off by reading the indication. And then we'll have you listen to a little bit of the safety information. Byfavo is a benzodiazepine, and it's indicated for the induction and maintenance of procedural sedation in adults undergoing procedures lasting 30 minutes or less. So now you're going to listen to a little bit of the obligatory safety information.
Actually, Randy, we'll play that a little later.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, so you notice there's a black, this is our first time live, so excuse me for that. This is a black box warning that you should all be aware of, that the required monitoring resuscitation equipment, and of course the risks for concomitant use with opioid analgesics and other sedative hypnotics. Go to the next slide, Tony. We need to disclose that this is a promotional presentation, so therefore we will stay on label. At the end of the presentation, you're welcome to ask any questions. If they are off label, I may either refer you to myself privately or to medical information for Acacia Pharma to receive those answers. If this were a live presentation, we could meet outside afterwards. But being on the internet, we either have to refer you to medical information or I can answer them personally, one-on-one with you through email or some other means. Next slide. So what are we going to talk about tonight? So briefly, we're going to go over the current landscape for procedural sedation. We're going to discuss what are the unmet needs prior to the release of Byfavo. And then I'm going to introduce to you Byfavo and go through some of the data from the pivotal trials and show you why I think that it meets some of the unmet needs in procedural sedation and why it's an exciting new drug